Here we go again with Twitch's little policy updates and changes. All right. So I can't remember if I actually covered any of this like Twitch policy change update. I think this original post I didn't do any coverage on it because I wanted to say I was banking on probably they were going to be changing, making some updates to it and everything. And of course they did. I think it was a few days ago at this point was when they ended up making, yeah, it was a few days ago at this point when they changed stuff and then they rechanged stuff and everything. So Twitch has had new management. The first thing that you got to know going into all this stuff, when it comes to the live streaming platform Twitch, they have had new management. The people who started the platform are not there working on it anymore. They are not in control of the ship anymore. There is a lot of people, so they do actually a full-on talk show thing where they bring in all these people, including the person that wrote this, and also which is Angela Hession, Angela Hession, and also Dan Clancy. We're going to be hearing from both of them in these articles, and yeah, it's their approach to the platform of Twitch is so drastically different than what all of us wanted the platform to be that helped build the platform to begin with. And I've been saying this over and over and over again in videos to try and get that word out there of like, let's make Twitch great again, if you will. Yeah, it's just the direction that Twitch has gone into. It's turning it more into kind of a cam website. So with that being said, let's jump into this and let's read through this. So, Angela Hession, we have received constant feedback from streamers that our current policies around sexual content are confusing and that it can be difficult to know how their content will be interpreted based on these policies. We want streamers to feel confident they understand our rules and viewers to feel confident they will get the experience they expect. To accomplish this, we are making 2 changes effective today, and this is the first batch of like rule changes that they made. Streamlining our policies regarding sexual content and updating the criteria used for homepage recommendations. Now, anytime I jump on Twitch and I click into the followers tab, not even the homepage, I don't ever mess with homepage. I go straight to followers tab, and that's basically what my bookmark is on my internet browser. And then I go and like check out who's streaming online. I don't watch too many streams nowadays. There's only like 2 or 3 of them that I watch on the regular. But every single time I jump in, basically the ones that I watch is like Critical Role. In my Twitch recap, that was pretty much like, so I don't ever watch really Just Chatting anymore, although I used to stream in Just Chatting a lot. So the algorithm itself for my profile of what I've been personally experiencing, my personal experience is going to be different, drastically different from everybody else's. I'm just giving you what the information that I've seen, what I can go by. So the algorithm for me, as someone who does not go into hot tubs, pool streamers, or any of that stuff, I still see it plastered on the recommended spot. Now they have said, oh, we can, all you have to do is hit the three dot button and you can get rid of all that stuff to be on your timeline. So they keep going through what they're saying here. So streamline sexual content policy. To be effective, policies need to be easy to understand so that a streamer knows what is allowed on the site and what is not allowed. Part of the confusion comes from the fact that there are currently 2 separate policies and community guidelines that address sexual content. There is also an additional section in the content classification guidelines that describes when a streamer needs to label the content as including sexual themes. Going forward, the sexually suggestive content and sexually explicit content policies will be consolidated into a single sexual content policy within the guidelines. Specify the types of sexual content that are prohibited on Twitch, and violating this policy result in account reinforcement. If you're a smaller streamer, it's a lot of account reinforcement. If you're a bigger streamer, then you just call up somebody that that works at the offices, and then you're right back on here again. So let's see here. We launched content classification labels CCL back in June in recognition that some content that is allowed on our service may not be suitable for all audiences. We believe that accurate content labeling is key to helping viewers get the experience they expect. And now that we can enable appropriate labeling. So basically, what they're getting at in this is we have thrown labels on everything, so we're going to let everything fly on our platform. And what I see is happening with the platform, and what I'm seeing of feedback from other people who have, way more following and viewership than what I've gotten over the years, is they are all saying the same thing of the platform is getting worse on the viewership and the chats and everything, of people coming in and saying different things in the chat that, is against these guidelines, especially. And to me, it's just like, well, of course you're going to have that, because, okay, what is Twitch's whole thing about? It's about cultivating culture around chat being, the inside jokes and all that stuff. Like, that's what we always used to say. And I feel like it's getting away from that, because basically the new guard of Twitch that are running the place is way more about like, okay, first it's business stuff. So sex sells. So we're going to push that content, tenfold. We're going to allow it 100% on the platform. Basically, I mean, I've seen people posting up stuff where it's like, that's basically OnlyFans content. And for some reason, OF content is the same thing that would be OF content, essentially, is being allowed on Just Chatting. And again, this is why I say Just Chatting should probably be just, if they really wanted to, and also people are, they're saying about their payouts and everything have gone down and everything is, and that would most likely be in conjuncture. Again, I don't really stream too much on Twitch anymore, but I mean, if you put two and two together business wise and everything, what that would end up suggesting is that the high paying ad revenue companies, the same ones that are complaining about, like X or, a lot of them don't complain about Facebook, but they should. A lot of those companies are probably pulling, the very expensive ads off from the Twitch platform, so that people are not getting paid as much. That just makes common sense in how stuff runs. You need your highest earning ad revenue stuff is going to come from, the companies that can pay the most for ad revenue. That just kind of makes sense. If you have more of a bigger pot, you're going to have a bigger percentage of that. This is the reason why Kick streamers don't make as much, because they have essentially a bigger slice of the revenue, but it's a smaller pot of cash that they're pulling, that they're getting paid from. So that's kind of the whole thing of what is going on here. What changed with the new updates? Let's go down to the FAQ. Some type of content that were prohibited will be now allowed on Twitch if appropriately labeled. But not allowed. So content that deliberately highlights breast, buttocks, or pelvic region. Yet now we have a bunch of streamers that are streaming, like they basically have a bunch of female streamers. They look like they're sitting there naked with censor bars over top of them. It's just like, come on. Fictionalized, drawn, animated, or sculptured, full exposed female representing breasts and or genitals or buttocks, regardless of gender. There is a thriving artist community. And this is where the whole thing came from, was the artist community on Twitch. So what they're trying to say is an artistic art form is a girl sitting there with pasties on, trying to paint on herself or whatever the hell. That's what I keep seeing popping up on the X feed, on the Instagram feeds, on the for you or whatever the hell you want to call it. There, the what is it called? The suggested streams and all that. That's what keeps popping up. So that must be the biggest viewership in the algorithm if it keeps popping up on feeds all over the place and people keep talking about it and keep clicking into it and all that stuff, because again, sex sells on the platform, and that's what these women are going for, which is essentially, I mean, how could you not essentially call it OnlyFans content, but on a platform like Twitch where they're getting creative and they're trying to go between the rule book to try and make a buck, And then if something oopsie, slips or nips or slips and stuff, then they can be like, why did I get kicked off the platform? We have seen this type of stuff happen over and over and over again. But at least Twitch was somewhat reinforcing. Now they're just kind of letting it fly, which is like, well, if you're in the business of Twitch streaming, the problem also, every time you go onto Twitch and you look into the browsing tab or the browse tab and click up to highest viewership, it's always the just chatting type of situations or something that is like, like the art one is like, number 120 something on the list of like all the different categories. Right now it's like, it's basically women in the just chatting section doing stuff where it's like, like a drawing on or sitting there with the censor bars or whatever the case may be. And then the next like top 10 will be, games that have always had a giant following, like a League of Legends or a World of Warcraft or something. Which of course, those are games, cool. Even the gaming side of things too. It's like everything has shifted from, story driven games over to like if you don't stream multiplayer games that are either competitive or that you're playing co-op in a multiplayer environment where you're doing kind of sandboxy stuff, nobody cares to watch. That's just kind of the way things is now. But again, with this content policy though, so let's go into the updated version of this, because there was so much backlash, and then there was so many women especially that were that's the same post. Hold on, there we go. So there was so much confusion happening that Dan Clancy now had to get on here, which is he is the CEO of Twitch, 2 days afterwards, and they had to update things again. So on Wednesday, we updated our sexual content policy. Our primary goal is making these updates was to make our guidelines easier to understand and enforce. Part of the update included changes to how we treat fictionalized nudity. So apparently all the artistic nudity that was happening, where women are, body painting or whatever, which I always thought was ridiculous. And then I see there's like shower streams, like what? That's OnlyFans content. Then there was the hot tub and pool stuff, of course. Also, it's just like, come on, we know what you're doing. And what was it? The sleeping streams? It's like, give me a break. What the hell does that have to do? Like, sure, Twitch has grown into a art, music, gaming, but gaming should be the forefront of the damn website. That's what it was built for, was to do competitive games, to watch people play competitively. It really bugs me that Twitch has shifted focus so much into the realm of just chatting and talking and, in that type of situation. So in making these updates, we were trying to be responsive to these requests and allow the thriving artist community on Twitch to utilize the human form in their art. So basically what they're trying to say is, if you're drawing anime stuff or whatever, and you draw boobs on your anime character, you could possibly get suspended and banned and all that. If you draw a big old wang at all in a game or in a art form, anime style or something, you could end up getting, suspended or whatever. And come on, we know what the hell you're drawing. It's not just normal anime stuff. It is a certain type of anime, which actually, I don't know if I can say the word actually on YouTube, because they're even more, it's like YouTube is the uptight platform. But and again, I do want to go into a whole thing of like streaming in general too. But I mean, if you look at it too, Twitch went from like tens of thousands of viewers on a lot of your bigger streamers. They are down to like the 3,000 to 4,000 mark now. Like people have just kind of stopped watching Twitch just because of, it's not about gaming. It's not what built the platform anymore. The whole culture around Twitch has just shifted and changed so much that unless you have a giant following in like in a certain genre of games, like if you're a giant fighting game streamer, if you're a giant League of Legends streamer, if you've had like thousands of people watching you play Fortnite or something, you're going to still have that viewership. It's, everybody's still in that community, in that one streamer's spot of the internet. But if you are an up and coming streamer, unless you are unless you're like really networking and maybe playing with a group or something, and if you are, especially, if you're playing a story driven single player game, never mind, forget it. You might as well just go and start making YouTube videos or something. But even then, people are just, I don't know, for some reason it seems like right now the whole chase around streaming or making content of just playing through like a mission or two of a story driven game, nobody cares to watch it. Everybody's just stuck on the multiplayer co-op, that whole thing. So 2 days later, after, let's see here. So, however, there also was a great deal of new content that was allowed underneath the updated policy. Much of the content created has been met with community concern. These are concerns we share. Upon reflection, we have decided that we went too far with this change. Digital depiction of nudity presents a unique challenge. AI can be used to create. I can't believe they went straight into the AI argument. This is such a California argument, in all honesty. That's where Twitch is, based in too. Can be used to create realistic images, and it can be hard to distinguish between digital art and photography. That is not at all the whole situation of this. The real situation, I guarantee you the real situation to this, is they started getting calls from all their ad rev supporters, and they were like, why is our content being pushed up against content that we deem not family friendly and such, or we deem something that, and I kind of heard like a kind of BS points straight from the marketing team too when they were doing a live stream of patch notes, where they said that the ad rev companies don't care if our content is or if they don't care if their ad rev content is next to somebody who is doing like a hot tub or a pool stream. Like, sexual content does not matter to them. And I'm just like, it matters on every other website except for Twitch? I don't think so. I think you're lying to us. Unfortunately. So effective today, we are rolling back the artistic nudity changes. Moving forward, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. This restriction does not apply to mature rated games. You can find, so basically, they made changes and then they rolled them all back, and so now it's they're back to the original rule set. But the fact of the matter that they made the changes to begin with, because they're like, can we get away with this? No, we can't. And then they started to roll it back again. That is a very bad practice, and that never used to happen so predominantly before. It's starting to happen now more and more often with the new, like, we might have had it like once a year before with the old original, with the OG Twitch team. That was running things. And then they would have like 3 other policies where just like, okay, yeah, fine. All right, just it makes it a little more strict on what we can do. But yeah, the reason why we were like that and had that mentality of like, okay, sure, I get it, is because we already know what we're going to have to deal with in chats. We already know what we're going to have to deal with when it comes to, if you're in somebody's stream and they have 1,000 people watching, there's going to be so much stupid commentary in the chat of people just trying to get away with saying some dumb stuff and everything. And then modders have to work extra hard when you evoke a culture that is around no rules whatsoever at all. And, you're inviting in, I heard one streamer, she goes, well, if they have just chatting streams and pool streams and everything else, and people just go to watch the content over there, then I don't have to deal with it in my stream where I am, I'm covered up and I wear a hoodie a lot of times on stream and everything. It's like, no, that's not how it works. We know that's not how it works. The way it works is you are bringing in more people from other websites that are adult-oriented websites, that are the XXX rated websites and everything. You're going to bring in those people and trolls and everything else will end up, just infesting the website, because that is what you're inviting into the platform. So that's what you end up dealing with in the chats, whether you're just a watcher and you're not even a streamer. There's a lot of times people, the number one thing I see is people will just turn the chat off and they'll just watch the live stream. They'll just lurk, in the background, which is totally fine. I am that same way. 9 times out of 10, I don't care to see what the chat is saying. But what you end up seeing also is like the people who are trying to poach viewership, which I've made videos about that before. The ones that will, do something to try and troll through, donations and such. We've seen that increase over and over and over again also. So it's really too bad that Twitch is becoming kind of a former shell of itself at this point, of just the direction that the platform has been pushed into because of the new leadership and everything. And again, I have made videos talking about this before, but just like there's just more and more instances that are happening, on top of that too, of just like people that should be banned and then they make best friends. I mean, we've seen that over the years, plenty of times with a bunch of different streamers, but there is like drastic stuff happening. Kai Cenat, I will keep calling that one out over and over and over again until, I mean, nothing is going to happen against him, but he's the perfect example of like, he used Twitch as a stepping stone. He's going into Hollywood now, as far as what I've seen. So it's like, you're going to let him get away with literally doing illegal stuff. He's using Twitch as a stepping stone, and you don't care. That doesn't sit well with me. Not with the Twitch platform. And again, I had the freaking logo right up here. Like, I would love to get back in, and stream on Twitch again, but the problem is, it's just like the type of content that is the type of content that is popular on Twitch is not always the type of stuff that I like to stream. So it's kind of one of those situations of like, what do I stream anymore? And this is also to round this whole thing off. Twitch is kind of like the Wild West. There isn't a whole lot of rule sets going on with Twitch, but the business side of things is not great either. So if you're not looking to get paid through Twitch or anything, but also you have to worry about there being a lot more trolls and stuff like that. So there's less rules, but then there's more stuff you have to deal with when it comes to your chat, when it comes to, moderating and everything. YouTube is way more censorship heavy. It is terribly censored. There's certain words you can't say on the platform, because they get all uptight and, kind of butthurt about it. But it's easier to get into an ad rev, spot on YouTube that way. And then something like a Kick is just like, again, you're making less money. They also have that culture in there where it's like, it's just trolls and everything, because that's literally the people who stream on Kick. That's the type of content that they're into, is, and then also there has been, I've seen, there's one of the YouTubers, I guess he's a Twitch streamer also. He asked the guy who runs Kick, why is there illegal movie or illegally stream movies and such on the platform? Like they're taking the movie and just streaming it, and which is the DMCA all the way through. And then he just basically he just got a rant thrown at him for like 20 minutes straight and all that. You can find the video on YouTube, but again, that's the reason why something like a Kick, I'm just like, no, that's just, it's just dumb to even go there either. So what's the best place to live stream anymore if you're a gamer? It's almost getting to the point where it's like X might be the best spot, but then they also still need to get some reinforcement teams on there. Rumble, if you stream on Rumble, then because Rumble is primarily a political platform, so then Twitch and YouTube have a problem with you because they don't agree with the live streaming, especially gaming live streaming, is such in a weird flux state right now. And somehow it just like within the last like 4 months or so, it's all over the place. Like any which way you go about it, it's either people don't care to watch, unless it's like multiplayer and you're playing in there with a couple of friends or whatever, or the enforcement and the moderation is so ridiculous, and the people that are in the chat rooms and everything is so ridiculous. It's not even the fact of either that that these platforms have gotten so big. It's the fact of the matter that just the culture that has been cultivated into the platform by having these stupid rules and regulations that each of them are doing. That's what the whole thing is. So talking about it's just real quick also, Another thing that ended up happening was E3. So after more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories, GGWP. ESA put out a word that E3 is officially no more. It's not that it's canceled at all. It's not that it's canceled, but it's just is done. E3 is no more at all anymore. So, growing up over the years, like one of the very first demo discs I had E3 like as one of the main video packages. They were showing a bunch of E3 footage on there. So I've seen E3 for like 20 something years. E3 was around back, I do believe it started like in the 80s, maybe the late 70s, something like that. It's been around for a long time, for decades. E3 was around. The thing is, we don't need E3 anymore. Between everything that we have going on with YouTube channels and TikToks and X posts and live streams and everything else, there is no real need for E3. Everybody gathers around one channel. There's a million viewers on each of those, like a Game Awards or a Summer Game Fest, or like, I mean, the Grand Theft Auto trailer just got 150 plus million views on it, and that was outside of an E3 or a Game Awards event. So again, distribution on marketing is so different now that you don't need E3 anymore. It was super cool seeing the booths and seeing everybody, seeing all the different companies come through and just do all their marketing gimmicks that they had. Like I remember one E3, there was a Capcom booth of the Resident Evil Village house that they made, and everybody walked in there, and you went inside the house and you went in the back room, you played Resident Evil Village and all that. It's moments like that where, and like fighting game stuff where they set up like almost like an arcade station, and everybody sits there in like a little mini arcade, spot playing the new Street Fighter or whatever the hell it was. It was super cool seeing all that stuff, but now we just do it virtually. Whether it's a VR setup or it's a alpha or a beta or something, and you jump in, you end up getting hands on with the game again. E3 was also kind of fostering the whole thing of, these certain content creators get to go to E3, and unless you could fly out on location, then you are super screwed on getting any footage of that. If you're an up and coming content creator and couldn't afford to go to E3, or you just simply couldn't get a ticket into the door or whatever, you're totally screwed, and you couldn't get any content for your channel. Now we have different means of doing that, which I think with all this, early access and betas and everything and subscriptions for games, Game Pass and PlayStation Plus tier and all that, I think that is such a better model than what E3 was. Like E3 was great for the times it was in, but I think we've moved on. We've gone to a whole other realm of possibility of what we can do outside of E3. So it's such a bittersweet thing of it's terrible to see E3 go, but at the same time, because E3 definitely, I remember G4 TV back in the day. That was one of the reasons why I got like a TV in my room, my own, because I was like, man, E3 is coming up, and I really want to see all the game coverage and everything, because they would do all day, every day. It was all E3 stuff, and then you're just like you're catching up on everything that was happening during the school hours and all that. Those memories I'll never forget. But again, and that logo, I'm never gonna forget it. Just in the same vein as like G4 TV and all that stuff. No matter what kind of behind the scenes stuff that you end up hearing about, the memories are still gonna be there. And this is very similar to like live streaming on Twitch and everything. Like the memories will always be there, and it's just bittersweet to see all these platforms and all these things go the way that they go. But that's also business. That's the way the world works. Stuff comes and it goes, and it starts and it ends. So the story E3 has come to an ending, and I will be. I'll definitely be live streaming Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards going forward. I mean, in essence, that's what Let's Talks are all about, and everything too. Is the same in the same vein of E3, of just like celebrating games and also just talking and chatting and showing off trailers and everything else. Like that's literally the reason why we do what we do here on YouTube and on Twitch and this and that. So and on social media too. Like social media is essentially, you know, that's gathering place of like, check out this new thing. So again, that's the reason why E3 is kind of an outdated idea. It was great for the time, but yeah, we have all moved on from it. So RIP E3. And if we're not careful, we might be saying RIP Twitch also. Companies, they gotta learn. You know, it's, well, the ones who run all these things, they gotta learn not to be so. I don't even know what the word would be for it, but they gotta learn to, you know, take better care of the community, I guess you could say. Yeah. Anyways, be sure and hit the sub button, the subscribe button here on YouTube. Almost 500 subs. It's super cool seeing the number get bigger. I'm gonna keep making new stuff. If the numbers keep going up, that's awesome. Yeah. If you hit that sub button, it's muchly appreciated, because then it just helps out with the algorithm, the channel, and also makes it so possibly in the future I could try and make some ad revenue and do even cooler stuff. So anyways, you also like the video too if you want to. But outside of that, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see you next time.